I'm going to talk about my favorite part of the brain and the reason why it is. But first, I'm going to give you some basics on the human brain and exactly what it is. The human brain is the command center of the central nervous system. It signals from the body's sensory organs and sends out outputs to the muscles. The human brain has 5 very, very imperative lobes that you should know. One is the frontal lobe, located in the front of the skull. Another is the occipital lobe, that is located in the back of the skull. Another set is the 2 parietal lobes, located on top of the temporal lobe, which is on the side by the ears. And then the last 5th lobe is the cerebellum, which is located at the bottom next to your brainstem. So out of all of these lobes, my favorite is, yep, you guessed it, the parietal lobe. Why this is my favorite lobe is because I like how it receives sensory information like temperature, taste, touch, pressure, and sometimes even visual. And also, the parietal lobe is the lobe that has the 2 parts, which is located on the top of your temporal lobes. And each part of your parietal lobe has like a duty, something it's supposed to do. So one side is, like I said, processes the sensory information like the temperature, taste, touch, etc. And the other side processes stuff like from a visual standpoint, like language and mathematics. Don't get me wrong, I do find every other part of the brain very intriguing. It's just that I've done a project before with every part of the lobe, and the one that I always think about whenever like I touch something hot or I taste something or when I process like language and mathematics, I always think of the parietal lobes every time. Definitely, most definitely, when I touch something hot, like if I touch like a stove that's on, I touch it, and I automatically think that my parietal lobe sends signals to my hand that I just touched something hot, and it just burnt my hand. So I just find it really intriguing how your brain, this organ, could do something like that could process things like this, and it's split into 2 hemispheres, and it controls a whole nother thing. So when I was thinking about doing this brain project presentation, whatever you call it, I already knew from the jump which one I was going to choose. I knew I was going to choose the parietal lobe because of the project that I did last semester on the brain, and how whenever I think about something, how my parietal lobe sends the signals to that certain something, the temperature, for example, how it sends the signals in my skin or whatever, how it automatically feels that burn. To top off this presentation, I'm going to answer a few questions that a lot of people research about the parietal lobe. So yeah, a lot of people research where does the parietal lobe name come from, and according to research done, the parietal lobe name comes from the parietal bone, which protects the parietal lobe. So I guess they just made it the lobe instead of the bone. Okay. Another question is, what happens when there's damage done to the parietal lobe? So, it's 2 hemispheres of this lobe. So when it's damage done to the left side of the parietal lobe, it can result in something called Gertzmann syndrome, and this includes difficulty in writing and processing language and mathematics. So just because I answered what happens to the left side, it's only right if I answer what happens to the right side if it's damaged. Well, according to research done, if there's damage done to the right side of the parietal lobe, this results in loss of spatial relationships, imagery, and visualization. So this concludes my favorite part of the brain presentation. I hope you found some of the information I gave on my favorite part of the brain very useful and imperative. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope everything was very clear.